Hey. Time for another Out of This World story from rSpace. Sometimes we don't find out the truth about our spouses until they're 6 feet under. Then we uncover all their dirty little secrets. Are they doing us any favors when they take their secrets to the grave? Let's find out today on rSpace. Up first, a widow learns all. Am I the a-hole for not allowing my late husband's affair partner to come to his funeral? 3 weeks ago, my husband died in a car accident halfway across the country. He said he was going to a work trip, but we later found out that all of that was just another one of his lies and he was actually on a cheating trip. Something he'd seemingly been doing for at least the past 5 years. So yeah, it's been a very fun few weeks. Feel fantastic. Our kids are 7 female, 14 male, and 19 male. Only the eldest knows about the affair and we all agreed to keep it to ourselves. The problem lies with his partner. She wanted to be involved. I told her that wouldn't be possible and she should respect our privacy. Even putting my feelings aside, though he's trying to be strong for his younger siblings, my eldest is battling with his anger and grief. Having her there would only cause problems. Regardless, she was there when we arrived at the graveyard, standing some distance away, but was still close enough to everyone to just make her stand out as if she wants to be seen. I told my brother, and he removed her without causing too much of a scene. Afterwards, she sent me a text which summarized basically called me selfish for blocking her from being there and saying I robbed her of the chance to say goodbye properly. For some reason, this is slightly bothering me. I've found myself justifying my actions to myself repeatedly since receiving that text. I still believe I did what was right and put my kids first. She had no business there and her presence would only cause drama. She could always go to his grave whenever she wants to say goodbye. Was I the a-hole? What say you, community? Was the OP the a-hole? Infamous Control 778 responds first. Not the a-hole. She apparently knew she was having an affair with a married man and father, and she is unreasonable expecting anything from you. I'm sorry for what you're going through. This must be a hell of a time. Beta Jim 89 agrees. Agreed. These are not the actions of a woman who didn't know the man she was seeing had a family. She knew. She didn't care. Throw 0528 2021 says, not the a-hole. If she wants to say goodbye properly, she can pay for a memorial service of her own. Having an affair with someone who already has a spouse and children has drawbacks. Not being welcome at weddings, funerals, and other family functions is one of them. She cannot plausibly claim to be surprised at being asked to leave. Glitter Doomsday chimes in, a side piece has no place on main events. Crankle Stank says, want to be really mean? Text her back, I'm trying to grieve my husband. It would not be appropriate for you or his other girlfriends to be attending. Why are you the only one of his side pieces who could not understand to leave us alone in our time of grief? Let her see how it feels to get cheated on. PW Crash has one thought too. Not the a-hole. She should be absolutely ashamed of herself. I get she's grieving, but so is his family who just lost a husband and father and now also have to deal with the fact that he was unfaithful. And she wouldn't be grieving if she didn't mess around with him in the first place. If she had any class at all, she would stay away. And please, for the love of God, keep the lawyers close in case she comes knocking claiming she's with child demanding money. I think the comment above is right. She now knows what it's like to be cheated from something. She really didn't have any business being there. And it's a shame that you had to find out about your husband's infidelity through these circumstances. It's not fair to you or your children. She should have respected you and your family. She clearly didn't care. I'm not even sure going to the funeral was meaningful for her, as if it wasn't really a chance for her to say goodbye. I have a feeling she did it just to cause harm. What do you think? Did this mistress have ulterior motives? Next, isn't it supposed to be chicks before husbands? Betrayed by husband and best friend. About 5 weeks ago, I found out that my husband of 7.5 years had an affair with one of my best friends. I have 2 girlfriends that I was close to. He was close to their husbands. Pretty much was a complete blindside. I thought we were happy. I thought we were in love. I thought he could have never done this to me. We moved out west a year ago from Ontario, so I didn't even know how they could have done this. He said it happened physically one time this summer before we moved, when I told him to quit his job since he was stressed and help fix up the house to sell. The truth? They texted for a couple of weeks, planned to get together, hooked up physically multiple times at each of their houses, until we moved. After, they texted for a year. Chit-chat, sexual messages, pictures, videos. I found out from my best friend's husband. He saw the messages and sent me something weird, so I confronted my husband and he ultimately confessed. After a couple days, I got more of the story. We have a daughter together that is 3, and assets to sell. I feel destroyed. I have started the legal separation process, but he still lives here with me, and all I want to do is make him suffer. He seems to have guilt and remorse, but I can't even tell if that is a manipulation tactic. He wants forgiveness and to stay, and the promises have been great. 50 years of being treated like a queen. The affair has been spun to I kept doing it because I didn't know if I rejected her, if she would get upset and tell you. I have flip-flopped on wanting to believe his lies and stay, not breaking up the family, the fantasy of what he says, and between logic of knowing this is something I can never forgive. It's too devastating and he will probably do it again. Everything I read says to get out and don't look back. People ultimately can't reconcile with a cheater. I feel split into two. I'm so sad. I cannot eat. I cannot sleep. The devastation is insane. I can't stop thinking about the details all day. Let's look to the community for some words of wisdom. Acceptable State 4845 says, he could not even go without cheating in the 7.5 years. You are together, and he is promising you the stars for the next 50. What a joke. You deserve better than this, OP. Don't settle for this, and don't subject your daughter to a toxic environment because this level of betrayal is hard to forgive, and you will resent staying, and that resentment will show. A single happy parent is much better than two miserable ones. The OP replies, thank you to all who have commented. I meant to add that the reason this was such a complete blindside, and that I didn't find out, is because I had complete trust. He was married before me, and he was supposedly cheated on, so I never thought he was capable of doing this. I agree that this is an incredibly deep betrayal. I cannot forgive him for all the reasons people have stated. The length of the affair and who he chose to do it with are complete daggers to the heart. He keeps telling me that he loved me then and still, but I cannot believe that he knows what love is, because doing that is not love. I just feel trapped in chaos right now, and it's hard to hear the promises of grandeur. Thank you for the support to keep what my logic knows going strong. New Arrival 9860 chimes in. So, supposedly he was cheated on. I assume he is the source of that information. To me, that means one of two things. A, he was cheated on, knows how that feels, and chose to do it to you knowing what he knows, and he would still be cheating if he weren't exposed. B, he lied and flipped the story. Someone got cheated on, but it was his ex, so he is a serial cheater. Neither of these bode well for a future with this person. Focus on your healing and being the best parent you can be for your daughter. Go 180 Grey Rock. The love you feel is for the person you thought he was, not for the person whom he has shown you to be. The OP replies, yes, agreed. When this came out about him cheating on me, that was a question. How could you do this if it happened to you? I got some more details, and pretty much he found out there was a possibility she cheated, but they had already divorced, so he was already done, so not quite the same. Plus, I don't think he ever loved his first wife. Maybe he doesn't love me and doesn't know how to love. I agree, best parent and learn to live myself, not a fantasy of what someone can ever be. Acceptable State 4845 responds again. He is manipulating you. He is a piece of crap cheater who had no remorse cheating on you for so long. 50 years of treating you like a queen? Yeah, right. If you forgive him once, he will cheat again because he knows you will stay. Don't waste any further years on him. As for your daughter, she would be better off in a household where her mom is happy, not miserable. Always remember, once a cheater, always a cheater. If you want a life of constant mental torture, then please stay with him. This guy is a real gem. I'm sorry you lost both your husband and your best friend. I think him asking for forgiveness and to spend the rest of your lives together is total BS. What happens the next time he's stressed out about something? He's going to go find the next chick who is willing to wet his whistle. And to say that he was too scared that she would tell the truth, so he just kept the affair going? Really? Get bent. I think you have to work on getting the heck out of there as soon as you can, even if that means moving back with your family, if that's a possibility. What would you do? Next, a real monster. I found out my spouse was cheating through my mom. I'm embarrassed. My husband and I don't live in the same state as my parents. He was in our home state for work, and I was already feeling left out and lonely when my mom called to tell me about his visit. She laughingly told me that he had bruises all over his body from wrestling with his coworkers. He's such a guy, she says. My ears start ringing. I can't remember anything else from the conversation. He's a grown freaking man. I know he isn't covered in bruises from another man. I go to his computer and check his social media. Sure enough, he's been messaging another woman, and she apologized for the bite marks she left on him. I'm humiliated. I don't want to say anything to my mom because I don't want her to feel bad. A deleted user has her first response. She was looking out for you. Leave him, get your finances in order to speak to a lawyer. The OP replies, you think she knew? Parcel Posted has an answer. Yes. As a mom, you don't want to be accusatory, so it was her gentle way to tell you. She also does not want to embarrass you or make you feel worse. Cube Missy says, yeah, I think mom was testing the waters, telling OP in a way that could be blown off and forgotten if OP wasn't ready to hear it. Update. I didn't expect my original post to blow up the way that it did, and I really appreciate the support I got. I'm not confrontational at all, so I really needed the hype that y'all gave me. I think the main thing people are interested in is whether or not my mom was trying to hint at my husband's affair. My mom is the most honest person that I know, and I think the downside to that is that she assumes other people are the same way. So I asked her, and she said that she didn't know they were bite marks. In her defense, I have now seen them, and they do just look like bruises on his arms. No teeth marks or anything. I'm relieved, to be honest. I don't think that I could take another person I care about lying to me, even if it came from a place of kindness. My husband says they're bruises from wrestling with the girl and not bite marks. I don't know what the truth is, but the distraction doesn't really matter at this point. He also said that when they hooked up, she didn't finish. Again, a distinction that doesn't matter, but a petty part of me wanted to share. Now on to another update. I want to remind everyone that I'm living states away from my friends and family, just under 1,000 miles. So I'm fairly isolated, and just leaving him isn't as easy as it sounds. I don't even have my own car. We have one car with both our names on it. Please keep that in mind because I know I didn't handle everything perfectly. He got home Friday night. I did let him in. I was civil. We didn't talk much because what is there to say? I essentially moved into our backyard. We have a hammock that I love. I brought out a ton of blankets, and there's an outlet where I can charge my phone. So my dog and I were spending as much time out there as possible. I also can't hear him yell at video games from out there. So not a long-term solution, but I was genuinely enjoying it. Then on Saturday evening, he came into the backyard and asked me to go buy him beer. I said that I didn't feel like leaving, but he could go get the beer. We argued, but I insisted that I didn't feel like leaving, and if he wanted beer, he was going to have to go get it. So he picked up my dog and held it over the fence and said that if I didn't go get the beer, he was going to drop her. I looked him in the eye and said that if he dropped my dog, I was leaving and never coming back. And then he dropped her. It wasn't a far drop. She was confused but uninjured. I started screaming at him. I can't remember what I said, only what I felt. He started yelling at me about making a scene, that I was embarrassing him, bothering the neighbors, that I was drunk. I hadn't had anything to drink that day, but the rest of it was probably true. He said that it was funny that I knew it was funny and I was just acting out for attention. He finally went back inside. I don't know if he went to get the beer or not. I meant what I said. That night I packed our car as full as I could get it. There are other things I would be sad to lose, but I took the essentials, including my dog, of course, and drove home. I drove through the night. I swear I feel like I could sleep for a week. Beyond drained. I don't think he realizes that I'm serious yet. He seems genuinely confused about what happened. But I know that I'm serious. As dumb as it sounds, I spend a lot of time thinking that if this person was hurting me, he wasn't hurting other people. It's the logic of someone who got married at 20 and had their emotional maturity stunted. I'm staying with my parents. I'm not sure what is going to happen. I don't know what to do about the car. I'm not sure what to do about the rest of my stuff. So that's my update. A lot of uncertainty. Typical Agency 8984 has the first response. What a horrible man. I'm glad you got out of that situation. Please disconnect any utilities that are in your name. Also, change or add pins to any credit cards that are in your name. You will have better days. Hugs, OP. Jella Bye Bye says, I am so glad and so proud of you for dumping him. Everything he did was bad, but hurting your dog? Ugh. Abuse territory, here we come. I don't know how it is where you live, but as you left your house with the car you share, it may be worth checking with a lawyer what your next move is. Also, on to the police to report the animal abuse. They won't do a thing, but it's good to have it on file. I also hope you have a screenshot of everything. In any case, congrats on losing that D-bag. Oh boy. I feel like as soon as you saw the bruises or bite marks that you should have left then and there. And for him to change his tune and say, okay, they're actually from wrestling with this girl? Excuse me? What possesses an adult male to wrestle with another adult female? Is this guy for real? And then, to tell you to get him a beer? As if you're his own personal maid. I wish you would have left sooner. This guy is a monster. What are your thoughts? Thank you for joining us today on rSpace. Like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video. We'd hate for you to miss out. If you want to listen to more stories from me, check out our lounge where I feature a larger variety of non-cheating related stories. See you there.